Hey y'all, it's Missniecytv and I'm here to do a review for Sistas Season 10, Episode 4. The episode picks up at Zach and Fatima's house and they're in the bed and they hear a loud noise, so Zach automatically gets up and he checks to see what's going on outside. And they both think that it's something that has to do with Andy's car and somebody that Dr. Cruz hired to get back at them, right? Zach is like, I don't like this at all. Fatima's like, well, maybe we should send a message or we can make them disappear. And I'm like, Fatima, making Dr. Cruz disappear would be your best bet, because trying to send a message your way is not going to work. So you might as well just call Madam. I think your plan needs to come sooner or later, because I don't think Dr. Cruz is going to stop until he sees that he's got to Andy really bad. But he don't think that his actions are wrong. He thinks that he's right, even though his actions are deplorable, despicable, and disgusting. And women have to live without their children, and some of the women even passed away. He honestly feels like Andy should have minded her business, but Andy's doing the right thing by advocating for these women. Over at Richard's Juice Bar, we see that Madison comes in, and Madison is a serial entrepreneur, and she's looking to collaborate with local businesses on her new business venture, and she thinks that a cross-promotion event will be very beneficial. So she sits down with Rich and we find out that the business that she's trying to open is like a health and wellness business, and she feels like Rich's business would be a good collaboration for that. So they sit down and they talk business, and Rich agrees that he wants to work on the partnership. Things get a little personal and Madison says, you're cute and you're funny, right? And then she asks Rich if he's single, and Rich says it's complicated. Rich is still holding out hope that Sabrina's going to be okay and that they can get back together. Rich asks Madison about her personal life, and we find out that she went to college in Louisiana because she liked culture and everything. But she moved back to Atlanta to take care of her parents because they're getting older, and she explains to Rich that she just wants to be the best daughter that she can be right now, because she doesn't want to be the person that when her parents pass away, that she's the one that's jumping on the casket because she has regret. To be honest, I can see a few sparks flying between Madison and Rich. It might not be a romantic relationship, but it might definitely be a fling, because they have some things in common. Madison is definitely taking a like to Rich, even though she says she doesn't mix business with pleasure. Over at Danny's, we see Danny in the bathroom looking at her bruises on her neck, and she's just having flashbacks about the whole thing, and all she can hear is, I am the police, I am the police. I feel like Danny feels as if she can't do anything about the situation, because if she goes to the police about it, they won't believe her, because it's like they are trying to defend one of their own. Not only is she having to relive what just happened to her, she's probably reliving the moment with Jonah and the situation that happened in college. I feel so bad for Danny, and she really needs to move out of that apartment, because that apartment holds bad memories, and she needs to get some intense therapy. We're at the hospital. Andy goes to see Sabrina, and we find out that Sabrina has made it through the night. She's still breathing on a ventilator, but she's stable and she's pushing through. Andy's like, she looks so helpless. The nurse on Sabrina's floor basically encourages Andy, and she's like, I've seen people in more worse conditions pull through, so we just have to keep hope that Sabrina will do the same. After Andy is done checking on Sabrina, she runs into Dr. Vaughn in the hallway. Dr. Vaughn asks, is Sabrina doing better? Andy tells him that she made it through the night. Dr. Vaughn tells her that it's going to be a long and extensive recovery, but just keep the faith. And Andy's like, that's hard to do right now with everything that's going on. Andy's like, somebody planted an explosive in my car after I got threatening texts to back off. Dr. Vaughn is like, what? Why didn't you tell me sooner? Andy's like, the reason I didn't mention it is because of everything that's going on with Sabrina. She's like, the person that planted it was hired by Dr. Cruz. You know, the one that you covered for? Dr. Vaughn is like, if you let me answer to these accusations, counselor, I could tell you something. And Andy's like, what could you possibly say, doctor? Dr. Vaughn is like, if you get your head up your behind, we can go to breakfast and talk. I think that Andy should stop coming down so hard on Dr. Vaughn. Yes, Dr. Vaughn has his flaws and he covered for Dr. Cruz, but I think he only did that to keep his job. We already know that Dr. Cruz has friends in higher places, so if Dr. Vaughn would have said anything, Dr. Vaughn could have had his license revoked and he couldn't practice medicine anymore. Over at Maurice's, Pam comes over to talk about everything that's going on with Sabrina. She asks Maurice, is he sleeping better? Maurice is like, as best as he could. Pam is like, well, I got some sleep and I'm having even better dreams. And then they talk about Dylan for a little bit and how Dylan makes him happy. How Maurice is lonely because Dylan's not there because he's with Paige, and Pam is like, oh, that's so sweet. Maurice is like, you know that they could be sweet. Pam tells Maurice that she put Sabrina's name in the prayer box at church, and Maurice is like, that's so sweet of you. I really want to go to the hospital and see her, but I don't want to get all emotional. Abs not running, tears falling down my eyes. Pam is like, maybe that's what she needs, to hear your voice. Maurice is like, yeah, you're right, because they do say that people in a coma can hear you. Pam is like, well, you need to send her some encouragement and give her some tough love. Pam is like, you don't want to live with regret not saying anything to her. Can I just say I'm really enjoying the friendship between Maurice and Pam. It's so great. I love their dynamic. Over at the restaurant, we see that Andy has agreed to go to breakfast with Dr. Vaughn, and they sit down and they have a conversation about Dr. Cruz and how he's on administrative leave and he's suspended, and how the hospital could get sued as well because of their liability, because everything that they knew, and they still allowed him to practice medicine. Dr. Vaughn said he didn't handle it right the first time, but he definitely went back to the board, but they shut him down and they didn't want to hear anything that he had to say. And Andy's like, why? Dr. Vaughn is like, I'm trying to make it right, but you know how they treat black people. Dr. Vaughn is like, yes, I know I took the cowardly way out the first time, but I'm here to make it right. And if you would like for me to show up and testify, I will do that. He's like, why would you do that? Dr. Vaughn is like, of course I just want to make it right, but doing the right thing also comes to great rewards. And we knew that he was referring to Andy. And he's like, so what's this about you wanting to tell the truth now? Dr. Vaughn is like, I like everything that you're doing in advocating for the ladies. And I want to get to know you, but I also wanted to do the right thing. Andy's like, I just need to take some time and work on myself and become a better version of myself. And Andy, do you know how many times you said that, but still haven't improved? Dr. Vaughn is like, before you even have the chance to respond, just know that I want to know you, the real you. Andy, the daughter and the friend. I want to get to know you. Andy's like, you know what? I'll think about it. Over at Andy's penthouse, Andy's finally back from breakfast with Dr. Vaughn, and as she's coming off the elevator, she sees Cheyenne laying on the couch. Cheyenne is like, you couldn't hold water if your life depended on it. Andy's like, well, I love to you too. And what are you talking about? Cheyenne is like, you couldn't wait to tell Mom that you had to bail me out of jail, huh? Andy's like, well, that slipped. And she was just as mad at me for hiding it as you being in jail. Cheyenne is like, yeah, right. Andy's like, where's Mom at anyway? Cheyenne is like, she's taking a nap. Andy's like, has she ate? Cheyenne is like, yeah, I had to put those pots and pans to use. Andy's like, I see that, but you also could have cleaned up after yourself. Cheyenne is like, don't you have a maid? Andy's like, I don't need a maid. I'm very well capable of cleaning up after myself. And Cheyenne is like, you're a big-time lawyer at a big-time law firm, and you know. Andy's like, you're going to have to learn how to clean up after yourself if you're going to be staying here. Cheyenne is like, what, I can stay? Andy's like, yeah, under a few conditions, though. No calls from jail, no getting high, and no getting down to business in public pools or anywhere public. They hug each other while Cheyenne hugs Andy, and I'm like, oh, deep down inside, they both love each other, and they just want the best for each other. Well, Andy definitely wants the best for Cheyenne. Andy's mom comes out during the hug, and she's like, it's so great to see my daughters getting along. She's like, Andy, where were you this morning? Andy's like, I went to go see Sabrina, and her mom is like, how is she doing? Andy's like, well, she's still hooked up to everything. She made it to the night. Andy's mom is like, you just have to keep the faith, and God is still in a miracle working business. I know he's going to work it out for me and Sabrina too. Over at Zach and Fatima's cooking food, and she asks Zach if he wants any. Zach says no. Then she asks Zach what he's doing for the day. He's like, well, Zach is like, he's going to call his boys to see if they want to play ball, and if not, he's going to see what Mr. Keys is doing for the day. And Fatima immediately is like, I don't trust that guy. Zach is like, so what is it about Mr. Keys that has your spidey senses going? Fatima's like, I just don't trust him. You know, people be hiding stuff, and it's going to be a long time before you find out the truth. Zach is like, I don't want to date the guy. I just want to be in his mentorship program, but I will definitely keep both my eyes on him. Fatima should have definitely just told Zach about the conversation that she overheard about Mr. Keys being Zach's father in this. Fatima also tells Zach that she's having phantom baby. Back over at the hospital, we see this black doctor coming to talk to the nurse on Sabrina's floor, and she's like, we have to contact Miss Holland's next of kin. The nurse is like, well, Sabrina's friend is listed as her next of kin. The doctor's like, no, it has to be immediate. What if Sabrina's pregnant? It would be crazy, because they said that it has to be immediate family, and they can't do nothing without an immediate family. Over at Danny's, Danny gets a knock on the door, and she comes to the door with a butcher knife, and Tony's like, it's me. Danny's like, who's me? He's like, it's Tony. So she lets Tony in, and Tony's like, why are you carrying a butcher knife around? Danny's like, I was just gonna cut an apple. Tony's like, who's cutting an apple with a butcher? Danny asks Tony, what is he doing there? Tony's like, I just want to talk to you and check on you, see if you're okay. Danny's like, when I wanted to talk to you, you didn't want to talk to me, but now that you want to talk to me, I'm supposed to talk to you. Danny's like, I don't want to talk. You can go. Tony notices that there's something wrong with her. He notices the bruises on her neck, and he's like, hey, what's wrong? What happened? Danny's like, I don't want to talk about it. And the entire time, she's telling herself that she deserved it, and she's disgusting. Danny locks herself in the bathroom so that she doesn't have to talk to Tony, and Tony does the right thing, but I feel like Danny's going to think he overstepped. He called Krisha and let her know that there's something wrong with Danny, and he's scared to leave her by herself. So Krisha comes over, and he's like, I just want to let you know that me and Danny aren't in the best place, but I just still love her and I care for her, and I just want to make sure she's okay. She's not okay right now. So Tony leaves to give Krisha and Danny some privacy, and Krisha knocks on the bathroom door because that's where Tony told her that Danny was. But before she can knock on the bathroom door, she hears Danny in the bathroom talking to herself. She's not really talking to herself, she's talking to Sabrina out loud, right? And she's like, Sabrina, I just want to talk to you. How did I end up in this situation? How did you end up here in condition? I just want to talk to you. So Krisha hears that, and she knocks on the door. She tells Danny to come out. They have a conversation. Krisha's trying to get Danny to talk. Danny's not really trying to talk. Danny's really not trying to talk to Krisha, but she does tell her that she slept with somebody else. He's like a psychopath, and I deserved what happened. And Krisha's like, are you abused or you hurt? She's like, did he hurt you? Danny doesn't say nothing, but there's clearly visible signs. Krisha's like, were you acid by this person? In the way that Danny looks and the way that her body language is saying, she's saying yes, but she don't really say it out loud. So Krisha's like, did Tony hurt you? Danny's like, Tony would never hurt me. I made the biggest mistake of my life by basically leaving Tony. She doesn't really say all that, but that's what's insinuated. Krisha's like, you know, if you were abused, it's my job to legally report that, right? She's like, were you abused? And Danny doesn't say anything. I feel like Danny feels like she feels powerless and helpless in this situation, and no one will believe her because the person that did this to her is a police officer. She probably feels like, how are the people that are supposed to protect me, the police officers, are the one that hurt me? I just really hope that Danny gets some intense therapy and that she moves out of that apartment and she just takes some time for herself. And even if Tony just has to be a friend to help her get through this, I really hope that he'll be there once he finds out the truth. But let me know what you guys think about this episode. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn your bell notifications. Bye!